One of the biggest needs for the New Orleans Saints coming into this draft is at running back, and we're fortunate to talk with one of our favorite running back prospects in this year's draft class. Before that, let's hit that intro.
You're listening to the Straight Up Saints podcast.
Welcome back into another edition of the Straight Up Saints podcast, and this podcast is brought to you guys by the Birdsall Law Firm, the official injury lawyers of Boot Krewe Media. They're located at 918 Poydras Street outside the Superdome. You can give them a call at 504-523-5413. That's Birdsall Law Firm, the official injury lawyers of Boot Krewe Media. Now joining us for this edition of the Straight Up Saints podcast is none other than former Tulane star Tyjae Spears and soon-to-be NFL running back. How's everything, man? Thank you for joining the show.
Man, I appreciate you for having me, man. I'm doing well, man.
Absolutely. So before I get into this whole, NFL draft process with you, and I'm sure this has been an exciting time for you, I want to just, rewind to this past season and just talk about the accomplishments that you had. We're talking about Cotton Bowl offensive MVP. We're talking about conference offensive player of the year. For you, was there ever a doubt in your mind that you can be this type of player? Just what went all together, Tyjae, that you had the breakout season that you did?
Like when you thinking of seasons and coming up on the season, like you never want to get too far ahead. So like you gotta be where your feet at. I say that often. You gotta be where your feet at. So like, and that's like maximizing every day. So like I work hard day in and day out, and not just me. I got a great group of guys around me. Of course, if they didn't do their part, my success, I wouldn't achieve the things that I did this year. So like they're a big part, they're a big help of everything. I didn't do it all by myself, but just taking one day at a time, man. Making sure you being 1-0, make sure you win in the day. That's to be honest, I don't really think that far ahead because I'm where my feet at. I'm trying to make the most out of every opportunity I get.
Yeah, certainly. And clearly, as you mentioned, you were talking about the team aspect of things. For you, what was it like being on the sideline, man, for that Cotton Bowl where you're talking about a game where you guys trailed by double digits at halftime? You trailed by, I believe, 15 points with a little over 4 minutes left. And yet you guys never stopped believing. The foot never came off the gas. And before you know it, there's 9 seconds left. And it was probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen. They put on the screen, Tulane takes their first lead of the game, and you guys go on to win it despite not having the lead for about pretty much 59 minutes of it. What was the energy like on the sidelines? What was being said like between those walls where you guys clearly didn't give up? What was that like?
So like the energy was it was mixed emotions. Like it was like highs and lows because like in that game we was like you said we was from 21 points down. We was probably like from 21 to like 15 points down the whole game or like 14, like probably 7 1 point. But like it was just up and down. It was like then like man we just stuck together and like what we were saying like whatever it took we wasn't gonna give up. Like that go to testament to us. Like we believed in ourselves. Nobody believed in us. Like, let's fast forward back to the 2000. I mean, yeah, let's fast forward back to 2021, 2-10. Ain't nobody think we was gonna do that, but we still believed in ourselves, and it started with ourselves. So like, we knew coming in we was gonna win that game. We didn't know how we was gonna win it, but we knew we was gonna win it because we knew that's their offense. They're gonna score a lot of points. We just gotta match them. We just gotta outscore them. So we knew we was gonna. So it was just all about like I said, like opportunities and making the most out of them. So it worked out in our favor at the end.
Yeah, and it's interesting how, the way the college football season quickly shifts over to the draft process. I'd imagine, 1 week you get the Cotton Bowl victory. It's like the perfect send-off for your career at Tulane. And then next thing you know, you're probably preparing for the NFL. And I'm curious for you, Tyjae, especially at the running back position where so many people put, an emphasis on 40 times and other drills. For you, did you enjoy that aspect of the process, or did it almost seem like it's a lot of track drills instead of focusing on the football aspect? I'm curious for you, what was it like kind of approaching just getting ready for the draft and doing all those workout drills?
And it's just like that. Like it just like it's the same thing. It's a lot of ups and downs. Some days you're gonna have good days. When you timing these 40s and you timing your splits, you're gonna have good days. Some days you're gonna have not so good days. So it's a lot of ups and downs. It's just about how you respond to, if you have a good day or a bad day, you got to respond the same way with the mentality that I'm gonna get better coming back the next day. So just taking one day at a time, and also man, you gotta enjoy those things because like during that process you meet a lot of cool people. Like I met like freaking Charlie Thompson from Georgia Tech, Vice, Vashe Dennis from freaking Pitt, Chris Rodriguez from Kentucky, like those great guys that I have a relationship with for a long time, just because we train together at the same facility and we push each other.
Yeah, and you mentioned, the aspect of enjoying every step of it and meeting cool people. For you, obviously, it's no secret in terms of the start of the draft process, and now there's been a lot of teams interested in you, and rightfully so. Have you been able to feel like you've made good connections so far in this process? Do you feel like there's still loads of meetings more that you got to take? How has that aspect been in terms of the just being able to talk football with NFL coaches and staffs?
See, like when it comes to like being on that film and doing the IQ stuff, like I be on that stuff. Like I take pride in it. Like when they sit down on the zooms and teach me the install, like I really I sit there and put myself in that time zone, in this time frame, and I take notes and I try to pick up all the cues that they give me, and I spit it back out to them. So like I've been doing really well in those, and like I just hoping I keep on trending on that uphill battle. I mean, on that uphill, I keep on trending uphill. So I've been doing really well in them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember when you had your workout earlier this year, there was a Saints contingency that was there, and obviously things will shake out, and there's a bunch of teams that are interested in you, and we'll see how the cards kind of fall. But for you, have you been able to have some good conversations with the hometown team and just be able to kind of see where the Saints are at? I know this is a team that the history at running back the last 10 years or so has been great. How has that been for you? Has there been a relationship that's kind of formed so far?
Yeah, it was kinda, but you of course I talked to everybody, most everybody that was there, and they'll tell me how much they like me and stuff when they see me in person. Well, he told me like last time I had went to a local day. Like other than that, I ain't had no interaction and stuff. But like they say, they'll what he said something like I forgot exactly what he said, but he was like, yeah, it'll be cool if we get you. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, they showing interest, but they ain't really showing like that they want me for real.
Okay, and interesting enough for your perspective.
But I heard like, I heard that they really like I heard from other sources like that they really like me. So if they, I love to play in Louisiana, but it is, at this point it's out of my hands, man. It is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. But since you mentioned that, I'm curious for you, Tyjae, what would it mean to you if you end up getting kind of that storybook continuation where it's like, man, you just had a magical season at Tulane, and then all of a sudden you're playing for New Orleans? Would that mean a little bit extra for you? Obviously, getting to the NFL would be just a amazing accomplishment in its own right, but would it have a little bit more extra juice to you?
Yeah, cause man, I'm literally like with traffic, I'm literally probably an hour, I say 59 minutes down the road with traffic. So with that being said, like man, I be like I'm being hometown hero anywhere I go, but like I'll be on a different level hometown hero, like just doing it and playing for the Saints, actually like helping the Saints get to the top. You know what I'm saying? Cause like that's my goal, man. Well, whatever organization I go to, I'm trying to help them win and as much as that I can. So that'll definitely be like a dream come true. It'll be like almost like it's unreal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember, I think it was earlier this year, you talked about, running backs that you like watching. And I think Alvin was one of the ones that you really like because of his style. I know you've mentioned contact balance and things of that nature. And obviously those are focal points of his game. Have you been able to, connect with any current running backs that have maybe given you a couple of pointers and given you a little bit of advice as you get ready for that next step?
No, I didn't, man. I didn't. But I would like to though. But like me, I ain't really a guy that reach out that much because I figured out like what I'm saying. I'm not. I ask questions when I get there, but but most I just try to figure it out on my own.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. But I'm curious. So we mentioned Alvin. What other running backs for you, Tyjae, are players that you like to kind of maybe pop the film in and see what they're doing? And maybe it's something that you can implement to your game, or maybe it's just something from an appreciation standpoint that you like the way they play the game. Who are those running backs for you outside of Alvin?
Outside of Alvin, I really like what like I always said, I like what Aaron Jones do, man. He run that ball hard and he can catch that ball. He catch the ball really really well also, and he create mismatch outside the box. Like he's tough too, man. He's tough, and I've been hearing like he's a great guy. So like that just make it like a and like his interview, what he said, he's like, I don't want to be too greedy or something like that. So like that just that's just solidify him and put him on the next level. So I really like Aaron Jones. I would like to meet him though. Actually, like I'll probably reach out to him sometime soon. But if not, I just catch him when I catch him.
Yeah, no, that's a tremendous pick. Another player who's extremely versatile. And you mentioned, the contract aspect of it, just total class act there. Um, for you, obviously, getting to the NFL, great accomplishment there. What do you think's the next level that you can turn, and maybe if you improve that aspect of your game, we're going from a really good player to also a great player at the NFL level as well. What are you trying to focus on in that regard?
Honestly, like man, like if you want to like be honest, like it's not one thing that I feel like me personally that I can do to excel my game. I feel like just touching up and touching up and critiquing like every area. Like if I can find a way to get better at everything that I do, it just make me much more. That just like you said, that make me better. That turn me from good to great, and also that just I just feel like that, man. I just feel like every area because like as we doing this stuff, like we just trying to be good, we trying to be average, or we trying to are we trying to go to the extreme? Because only so long we can play the game. So like I just want to get everything that I can out of it. Also have fun, man. Show my passion week in and week out, not just week in and week out. Every chance that I get.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember, we talked about it earlier about your Tulane career, and obviously, modest approach, giving a lot of credit to your teammates. Do you ever think there's going to be a moment though where you look back at your career and you kind of just like bluntly look at your numbers and be like, "Damn, I finished my college career averaging almost 7 yards per carry." Because you look at the numbers, it's just wildly impressive. Over this isn't a 1 year thing. This is your whole career at the collegiate level where you were that successful. Do you think you'll ever have that moment, or probably not?
I will, and I say this because man, I got a nephew. I was just telling my dad this the other day. I got a nephew. He want to be like just like me, and like I'm gonna just pull up my numbers just to kind of kind of shame him a little bit in the beginning, and I'm just like man. And like when I'm working with him and just like reaching out to him, I know he gonna play football. He probably be better than me. I think he gonna be better than me because he like 2 or 3. He got like he be like running and like scoring like imaginary touchdowns in the head. He'll slam the ball. He'll talk his little stuff. I'm like, bro, I did not do that when I was young. So I'm like, bro, he might got a little something in him. So like just working, I'm gonna just be working with him, but I'm gonna like go and revisit probably like high school, college, and of course this amazing NFL career I'm have. And I'm like, look, bro, we in this game to be, to do everything that we can for the team. But we in this game, we the break. We in this game, we trying to break records, and we trying to embark, and we trying to mark our name in history for forever. So like when I train him, I'm be like when I work with him, I'm just like, look, man, we trying to make history with every single thing that we doing, and like your goal is not to be, and I'm not finna sit here and say, oh, your goal is you chasing to be better than me. Nah, I want your goal to be the best version of yourself. Also, remember you gotta, you gotta make history, and also you gotta break every record that's standing in front of your way.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to keep an eye out from here on out, Tyjae. I'm going to write it down and make sure we revisit that for sure. For you, and you talked about coming into the NFL, and you have granted it changes for different players, but you only have a limited time in the NFL to really make your mark. Playing at a position that, look, some of the best players in the league are running backs, but it almost feels like for some reason at times the position gets devalued. Does it almost put an even bigger emphasis on, man, during that rookie contract, I got to play so, even better than, let's say, others at other positions where you can get that maybe life-changing money on the second deal? Do you feel like that's something that will cross running backs' minds when you guys enter the league? Because obviously I'd say, other positions, they could hang around for 10, 15 years, no problem, but you guys do play such a physical aspect. Does that kind of go into it when you're thinking about, leaving your mark and how quickly you need to make that impact?
Yeah, so like you said, you only gonna play for so long. So like with that being said, like okay, I'm trying to do my thing for as long as I can. So like every opportunity that you get, you gotta blow it out the water. But like being devalued, you always got to go the extra mile. Like I'm a true testament of it. Like you always got to go the extra mile of everybody that's in the equation because you're devalued. Because if you do just enough, oh, he ain't good. But if you do, if you do what they doing, and they might be doing a lot, oh, he ain't no better than him. Then like, oh, this is because this and this and that. That's why he doing that. But if you go above and beyond, okay, that's when you go. That's when you're gonna start to catch the eyes. I'm like, okay, he might, yeah, he might actually got it. So like, you always got to go above and beyond, especially at running back because like you said, it's the value and also the shelf life. You only can play for so long at running back because you're getting hit almost every freaking play.
Yeah, that's very true. And before I let you go, Tyjae, so we're 2 weeks away from the draft, roughly. What's that moment going to be like for you? Is it going to be spending time with the family? How are you going to approach that special moment when you get that phone call?
I'm actually going to Mobile the first day. Jim Nagy, he invited me to the draft party in Mobile for the first day. But and I appreciate that, man. Jim, my boy. So if you're hearing this, I appreciate you, Jim. But after that, I'm gonna be with the family the next 2 days, celebrating, waiting on my name to get called. Be with the family. I got a draft party in Hammond, Louisiana, and also I got like the celebration on I got another draft party on the third day too. So it's like 2 days, just in case if I don't get picked in the second or third round. No pressure. I can just continue with for the third day.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Tyjae, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I greatly appreciate it. Obviously, it's been just an absolute privilege watching your career at Tulane, and I wish you all the best as you get ready for the NFL.
Man, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me, man. Have a great day.
You too.
All right.
So that's going to do it for this edition of the Straight Up Saints podcast. I want to thank Tyjae for coming on. Just a really explosive prospect. Obviously, that would kind of be like the hometown guy that Saints fans would love to see. We'll see if that materializes. But as always, guys, stay tuned for more content here on the Straight Up Saints podcast, the destination for